Mental illness has recently become a topic in the forefront of social discussions. People are now more open to talk about their struggles, experiences, and advocate for mental health. Anxiety is the most common mental illness among adults in the United States, with social anxiety specifically affecting nearly 7% of the population. However, people normally experience symptoms for 10 years before even seeking help. As someone who suffers from social anxiety, I know firsthand the effects it has on an individual's ability to achieve everyday tasks and function normally in social settings. This speech will recount my pursuit to go to college while suffering through my struggles with this mental illness and eventually overcoming it. Like most high school seniors I know, I was looking forward to college. Freedom, independence, no curfew. However, my first semester enrolled at Georgia State was different than what I had imagined. What I thought would be a time for me to learn, grow, and experience a lifestyle I had never before was anything but. Shortly after moving in, classes began and reality set in. I was no longer in my small town in my small classroom with the same people I'd gone to school with since elementary school. This was a whole new world. I was surrounded by the unknown, and that made me nervous. I didn't know it at the time, but I was suffering. I was so overwhelmed by this unfamiliar place and these unfamiliar people that eventually I stopped leaving my dorm. I wouldn't go to class, the dining hall, or even sporting events. If I knew a crowd of people would be there, I wouldn't be. The end of the semester drew near. My anxiety continued to get the best of me. By this point, I was failing almost every class because I couldn't drag myself out of my room most days, no matter how hard I tried. I felt defeated. I knew I wouldn't make it another semester, let alone another 4 years to graduate with a nursing degree. I kept my struggles to myself mostly, until one day I reached my breaking point. I called my best friend back home, cried, and begged her to come visit me. The next day, she pulled up to my dorm for what she thought was a regular visit, and I had all of my things packed and ready to load into her car. Yes, without mentioning a word to my family, I packed my belongings and headed for home. As to be expected, when I returned home, my parents were shocked and disappointed. Because I kept my struggles to myself, they had no idea what was going on, and my mom demanded an explanation. After telling her everything, her disappointment quickly turned to concern. She suggested that I talk to a doctor. That was the start of me getting a diagnosis and the help that I needed. I was happy to have an answer, but I was disheartened at the same time. I still wanted to pursue my college education. As time went on and a few years went by, I figured what my passion was in life. I began applying to schools in my area again. To my surprise, I was accepted. This was the start of my journey to receive my degree as a dental hygienist. I am now enrolled in my second semester as a student at Georgia State University Perimeter College. I feel a strong sense of pride in overcoming something that could have held me back from reaching my potential. It has been a long process, and I know it will be worth it in the end. Through this, I learned that there is no shame in seeking help, and it's much better than suffering in silence. I'm sure everyone can attest to something they've had to push through to get to where they want to be.